So the movement that I chose is pedaling a bicycle. In a seated position, the rider uses their legs as pistons to drive the pedals down one at a time. This includes hip, knee, and ankle flexion and extension, and this move does not include any abduction or adduction of the legs. The reason that this movement interested me is because my dad and I love to cycle together, and I would love to start training for an Ironman soon. So the joints that are used in this motion are the hip joints, which is a ball and socket, the knee joint, which is a hinge joint, and the ankle joint, which is a hinged synovial joint. The major muscles that are used in this movement are the gluteus maximus, hip flexor muscles, quadriceps, hamstrings, soleus, gastrocnemius, tibialis anterior, and tibialis anterior. For the phases, the beginning stance. In the beginning stance, you have one foot clipped into your pedal while leaning on the other leg, which is standing flat on the ground. The joints used in this stance are the hip, knee, and ankle, all on the leg that is on the ground, and they're all being used to stabilize the rider before they transition into the prep phase. Next, we have the prep phase. In the prep phase, it begins when the rider pushes off the ground with their stabilizing foot and places their foot on the pedal and clips the unclipped foot into its pedal. The joints involved in this one are when pushing off to create kinetic energy, the rider is using flexion of their hip, knee, and ankle joints, and then as the rider clips his foot into the pedal, the main joint is the ankle joint. The main movement of this ankle joint is a slight rotation of the ankle to fit the foot onto the clip correctly. Next, we have the phase of acceleration. Now that both feet are clipped in, the acceleration phase begins. You simultaneously drive one foot to the ground while pulling the other foot up by pulling the knee towards the chest. In this phase, the hip, knee, and ankle joints are all being utilized. For the foot that is being pushed down to the ground, all three of these joints are in the extension position. The main muscles used in the position are the hip flexors, glutes, quads, gastrocnemius, and soleus. For the foot that is being pulled up with the knee coming towards the chest, all three joints are in the flexion position. The main muscles used in this position for the leg that's coming up are the hamstrings and the tibialis anterior. Next, we have deceleration. To decelerate, the rider simply slows down or stops the process of pumping his legs up and down. The same exact joints are used in deceleration as acceleration, just in a slower manner. And for the end position is when both feet have completely stopped pedaling and the rider has come to a stop. The rider then stabilizes the no longer moving bicycle by placing one foot on the ground. The movements of the joints involved in this are an internal rotation of the ankle to unclip the foot from the pedal, an extension of the hip and knee to lower the foot towards the ground, and a flexion of the ankle joint to place the foot on the ground at roughly a 90-degree angle with your leg. The pathology that I chose that is commonly associated with riding a bike is patellofemoral syndrome. Patellofemoral syndrome is a condition that describes pain in the front of the knee underneath the kneecap. It is often referred to as runner's knee or cycler's knee, and the main cause is overuse, and that's according to Null, an author. The mechanics of this injury could be due to any of the following: a kneecap that is too high, weak thigh muscles, tight hamstrings, tight Achilles tendons, poor foot support, bow-leggedness, or overuse. This injury is simply inflammation of the patella tendon, which can lead to patellar tendonitis. The signs and symptoms of this are always characterized by a dull pain on the anterior of the knee below the kneecap. Another symptom could be a clicking in the knee when contracting and extending, and that's according to Johns Hopkins. This symptom, the clicking in the knee, is most noticeable on exerting much concentric force on the knee or when the knee is acting as a shock absorber. If I were in charge of rehabbing, I would put my patient through 10 initial exercises. Initial treatment will include mainly resting and stretching, so that's before these exercises take place. And then I would prescribe my client 6 weeks of these 10 exercises every day. So as you can see, we have a standing quad stretch, a standing hip flexor stretch, a straight leg lift, standing calf stretch, step ups, calf exercise, wall slides, donkey kicks, IT band stretch, and hamstring stretch. As you can see, some of these are stretches while other of these are exercises to use to strengthen that area. And the prognosis, if your client sticks to these stretches 5 days a week, they will most likely be 100% to continue riding within 6 weeks. Thank you.